Vile sikia kitu hapa. Guy, imagine.
We prof, acha kutuonyesha unatoka shule bana. Enda kwa nyumba, unataka kuingia class kwa unatembea.
Mbona unasoma mbona? Bado jaanza.
Budi, funga hiyo kamera.
Walton. Good morning.
We prof, morning too. Unasema aje?
Bwana tupeleke na rada, shida.
Asante naingia mtumie.
Okay.
Alafu mwambie watu wengine watumie link ya YouTube in case kama hawajajoin.
Umewatumia ya YouTube?
Wajoin na hiyo.
Bana namniambiange mapema na seti mitambo bana na link hiyo kitu.
Next time nakuchanua.
Haina rada bana. Mimi ndo sasa expert bana. I'm checking us. Nafanya software engineering. Yeah. Yeah, I am attending this class live all the way from California. Yeah.
Mtulie basi like aanze mambo yake sasa.
Hata mimi niko Egypt na niko live.
Egypt what?
Niko Cairo man.
Ng'ang'ana na Farao.
Hello.
Alafu wase. Alafu Hello.
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 Mtu wako Sogoma na
kwa shilingi 100 tu peke yake. Kumbuka hii kia yetu ni ile inajulikana kama yani inakava kia yako yote na bado tuko na ile ya tenzi. Karibia customer tuweze kukupatia kwa bei nafuu kwa shilingi 100 tu peke yake.
Wewe si mute mic tafadhali. Mko soka alafu mute mic, nini shida?
Good morning. Morning.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
We are just fine, madam.
Thank you.
We are fine.
I want us now to do a recap of what we have been learning. Maybe can someone tell me what I taught? What was the first topic that I taught? Yes? Anyone? The first topic that I taught? Anyone? Yes, Vitalis?
The first topic I thought. Introduction to history.
Introduction to history. So what did we say about introduction to history?
In the introduction,
Yes?
we talked about
We talked about the different scholars and how
Yes.
they explained history.
Hello?
Are you getting me, madam?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. You are explaining and you are listening. You are telling us very good points. Hello?
I'm saying
Yes.
that we talked about the different scholars,
Yeah.
how they
Yes.
explained history.
Exactly. Yes. Good. How they defined history. So on that note, maybe you might get a question such as discuss or contextualize the term history. So when you such questions are there defining, contextualizing. Someone can just ask you anywhere, maybe outside there, not even necessarily examination. Contextualize the term history, or what do you mean by the term history? According to various scholars, you need to explain how various scholars have defined history. Very good. Another thing that we learned. Yes. Yes, anything else, Sharon?
Sources of information in African history.
Excellent. Sources of information in African history. And we also discussed various sources of information. Anyone who can mention in passing? Yes, Okello? Brian? Or Vitalis? Anyone who is ready? Yes, Frank?
We talked about the written sources.
Excellent. We talked about written sources. Very good.
Unwritten sources.
Unwritten sources. Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, we talked about written and unwritten sources of information. Then we focused more on unwritten. Maybe give us examples of unwritten sources of information in history. Yes. Sharon?
Oral tradition.
Oral tradition, very good. Cornelius?
Archaeology.
Very good. Lewis?
We have the linguistics.
Linguistics, very good. Anthropology?
Anthropology.
Very good. So you need to understand that all these sources of information are very important in the reconstruction of the past events, in the reconstruction of history. So you need to know how these sources of information can be utilized by historians in reconstruction of past events. So maybe you can get a question, maybe someone can ask you, how does oral tradition contribute in the reconstruction of the past events? Or how, I hope you're writing down, how does archaeology or oral tradition contribute in the development of historical events? Or how do we utilize oral tradition, archaeology, or anthropology in the reconstruction of past events? And maybe on that note, I've seen you have really contributed much, unless there's something else you have not learned about. But basically, sources of information focuses on the best way in which we can utilize available sources in the reconstruction of the past events. So I want to say that I think you have really captured what I've been talking, you have captured what I've mentioned concerning oral tradition, archaeology, anthropology. There's one who has talked about the introduction part of history. However, under introduction part of history, you also need to understand the essence of history and the scope of history. Maybe a question. With relevant example, maybe illustrate the essence of history. Illustrate the essence of history. Illustrate the essence and the scope of history. When someone tells you to illustrate the essence and scope of history, meaning essence, what are the traits, what are the features available for historical studies? When you talk of the scope, what are the boundaries? The boundaries of historical studies. What are the boundaries? The scope. And that's why under scope, we can see that we have the history of medicine under the scope of history. We also have the history of geography. We also have the history of religion. All these are historical perspective that fall under the scope of history. So maybe you can tell me what are the strengths and weaknesses of archaeology? Just a question. Evaluate strengths and weaknesses of archaeology. Evaluate strengths and weaknesses of archaeology. Examine strengths and weaknesses of oral tradition. The strengths and weaknesses of oral tradition. Strengths and weaknesses of oral tradition. What is the rationale? What is the rationale? What is the rationale of teaching a history and what is the rationale of teaching history? What is the rationale of teaching history? What is the rationale of teaching history? Why should we learn history? Why should we teach history? How is history of value to our students? How is history of value to our society? How is it? So you need to answer such questions, you as a historian, for your own good and also for the purpose of enhancing the discipline and also for the purpose of ensuring that we're able to preserve our culture. We need these historical studies so that we can also be able to pass it from one generation to another, so that these individuals can be able to understand the structures of our society. They can be able to understand the political organization of society, social organization of our society. So that is the rationale behind teaching and learning history. It's about our three branches of history, that is social, economic, and political branches. So basically one thing you need to know is that the vitality of history emanates from the three branches: the social perspective, the political perspective, and also the economic perspective. That is now the rationale of historical studies. You talk about the values that you acquire from history, cultural preservation, appreciating other people's culture, understanding the political structure of the government, understanding the economic activities of various countries and various communities. And then again, through history, we are able to learn about the past and prepare the future. So we have a lot of importance. We have a lot of gains by studying history. We gain a lot by studying history. As a teacher, by teaching history, you are imparting knowledge of various political organization, economic organization, and social organization. In terms of the essence, what is the essence of history? Essence of history. History deals with human beings or man. History deals with man and man in his natural setup, man in his environment. Also, history deals with the activities of man. What are you doing as a human being? Which activities are you doing? Which economic activities are you doing? Which political activities are you doing? Which social activities are you doing? Again, history, another important essence of history is events. History is concerned with the event that affects human being, event that is caused by human beings. So we have various essence of history. History is concerned with time. History is concerned with place. History is concerned with place, whereby when you talk about history, you'll hear people talking of history of America, history of European, history of Africa, meaning it is concerned with the geographical region of America, Europe, or Africa. So history is concerned with geographical region. History is concerned with time. And that's why, as a historian, you need to emphasize on the exact time in which an event occurred. Maybe you can talk of French Revolution, you can talk of World War I, you can talk of World War II. When did World War I occur? World War I occurred in 1913. When did World War II occur? It occurred in 1935. So basically, it focuses on the exact time in which an event occurred. And you can talk of, as historians, you can also talk of the exact time or the relative time. So when you give the exact time, we term it as absolute timing. When you talk of relative time, you can talk of pre-colonial period. So basically, the essence of history, it focuses on the exact time, geographical region, the exact individuals involved in a certain activity. So essence of history is about man, place, time, and events. So any question? Any question? Yes? Do you have any question? Yes, any question? So I hope you have noted the questions, and any question I want to clarify anywhere you want clarification from me. I'm all ears. I'm all ears today. I'm all ears. Yes. So basically, when you focus on history, you focus on those aspects I've told you. And just to do a quick recap of what we have been focusing on. We focused on we have focused on important issues regarding introduction of African history, of which it has been well captured, where we talked of scope, how various studies fit in history, and I've mentioned them. We also focused on definition of history, how various scholars have defined history. We also analyzed deeper ways in which historians rely on sources, and we categorize sources into two: written sources and unwritten sources. And unwritten sources, we looked at oral tradition. We defined oral tradition as the practice of handing down historical information by word of mouth from one generation to the next. We also analyzed the advantages of oral tradition as a source of information. We also looked at some of the disadvantages of oral tradition as a source of information, and also linguistics, its advantages and disadvantages. And Mark, you remember, linguistics, we talked of the scientific study of language, where we focus on analyzing various terms, various languages, for the purpose of understanding the movement of various communities, and also grouping communities into their language group. We also looked at anthropology, and we've said that anthropology focuses on human being, his evolution, his development, his beliefs, and his social attributes like music, dance, drama, and also religious practices. That is now the anthropological activities that is normally done by researchers. Now, under advantages, we looked at advantages of anthropology and also disadvantages of anthropology. Under archaeology, we defined archaeology whereby it is the study of man's past through scientific analysis of remains of human beings or remains of material remains of human. So archaeology scientifically studies man through unraveling, through analyzing human materials. And we gave example of these materials such as weapons, tools, houses, clothing, utensils, paintings, and so many others. Those materials are the ones that archaeologists utilize in reconstruction of the past. And under archaeology, also realize that archaeology is one of the unique ways of identifying various periods in the world. That is now absolute periodization, relative periodization, and there are various methods of identifying periodization. These methods are known as dating methods, such as radiocarbon dating, stratigraphic dating, and etc. All these types of dating method are used to identify various period, chemical dating, and so many other things, fusion track dating, lexico-statistical dating. Now, under written sources, we talked of two types of, it can be classified into two. One, the archival and the early manuscript, archives and the early manuscript. And I told you that archives is a historical, is a collection. An archive is a collection of historical documents or records, especially those carrying classified information of the government. So basically, archive is a historical document or records, and it has classified governmental information, not any kind of information, but classified governmental organization. And this information can only be accessed after a period of time. Good. Now, we also focused on the advantages and disadvantages of written sources and etc. Furthermore, we also looked at electronic sources. Under electronic sources, there were various sources of information such as microfilms, films, videos, radios, and televisions. And we also discussed about them. We focused on how its advantage, how is it important, and also the disadvantages of the same sources of information, especially electronic sources of information, whereby this source, it relies more on electricity. Sometimes it might be limited to the literate only, and also the electronic sources of information, sometimes also it's too expensive for everyone to afford it. So it is normally limited to those people who are literate and those people who are financially capable. Finally, the last topic we looked at was about racism and writing of African history, and we talked about how the races, how Europeans have been categorized, whereby we have Homo Europeans, Homo Asiatic, Homo Africanus, and etc. We also discussed about how various methods have been used to reconstruct African history, more specifically anthropology. And under anthropology, we categorized anthropology based on based on a certain speciality, or based on the following, and not really anthropology, sorry, but linguistics, how linguistics utilize their expertise. One of the expertise that linguistics utilize is the use of semantic anthropology. The semantic anthropology, you discover man's culture through Language. Number 2, linguistics. So the linguist also whereby the different study of them. Linguistics or linguists also utilize toponymy, where there is a study of place names. Also anthroponymy. It deals with the personal name. Anthroponymy deals with the personal name. Toponymy, it is the study of place names. Hydronymy. Any question? If there is no any other question, I want to wish you success in your exams. Go read, prepare for the exams. Maswali si ngumu, ni rahisi, ni vitu mnajua, ni vitu tumesoma, kila kitu tumesoma. Everything that you have learned, everything that you have discussed, hiyo ndio itakuja, haitatoka kama neck. Hii si neck, sisi wenyewe ndio neck, mimi na nyinyi. So any question? Yes, Lewis? Yes, any question? Any question? Are you comfortable with this unit? Yes, Nelson? Yes.
Just to add something about theology.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Nelson. I can't hear you. Sikuski.
As I would say, concerning theology, are you getting me?
Yes.
Okay, concerning theology,
Yes. But Nelson, that was an assignment. I'll not do that because I gave you as an assignment. I didn't forget. I cannot forget that. I can't forget that. I gave you as an assignment. Do your assignment. Let me do my part. Thank you.
But
no, do your assignment. Do your assignment. Do your assignment, my friend. Do your assignment. I'll not assist you in doing your assignment. Do your assignment. And I wish you well. We have two types, relative and absolute dating. So identify the relatives, relative dating, and also identify absolute dating. You need to do that. You never know, you might meet such a question in examination. Thank you, Nelson, for the question. I hope you answered. Naomba maswali yote ya histo. Given you questions in preparation for your exam, so I wish you well.
What about
yes, Nelson? What about
collection of the
maybe I want to give you more time. Siku ya mtihani mkikalia kile mtanipatia assignment.
Okay, thank you for your response.
Yeah, we're most welcome.
Okay.
Guys, thank you guys. Kama kuna burning issue Odongo.
Have a nice day, madam.
Yes. I'm listening. An assignment will be collected during the examination. In fact, that day after exams, you collect immediately. Even before, you need to collect the assignment. I'll be around.
Madam.
Yes.
Madam, I just wish to Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you. I really thank
Madam.
I appreciate.
Note.
Nilituma. Kitambo sana.
Okay.
Ilikuwa kitambo sana. Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for your cooperation.
Goodbye.
Me, I have a question, madam.
Yes.
Madam, we have him here.
Guys, have a good day. I have a meeting. Bye. Thank you. If in case you have an issue, talk to your class rep. He will reach to me or she. Then I can revert back.
We love you.
Okay, we love you, madam.
Bye.
We'll meet you. We'll meet you, madam. Hope you are getting me clear. Yeah, I wanted just to expound something about this Christmas festival. As all you know that there is a celebration, and this celebration, there's a lot of offers that you do offer, and it is delivery countrywide. So, if you are just or else I can share now. Or else I can share. I think it is one of the better brand.
Nelson, what are you saying? We don't
I can't entertain the group if you know, I'm trying to talk to them of to bring in jokes. I'm empty. You know, empty. They love Talk praise with you.